I'm Tom Peevers. I was a member of 364 in Vietnam in 1965 through 66. Originally, I'm from Cooperstown, New York. I was raised there. I was born at Ilion. My dad was a tool and die maker. I've lived in Reno, Nevada ever since 1955. My dad and I moved out here in 55. I worked for a furniture company in Reno, Nevada for a year. Drove a truck all around the area here. One of the guys I worked with, he came up with you ought to join the Marines. He says, they'll teach you some martial arts, and on a whim, that's just exactly what I did. I got a hold of my boss and says, you know what, I've worked here over a year. I got a week or so vacation. I'm going to go down and see if the Marines will. So I went down to San Francisco and joined up. Called my boss, told him my vacation was over. And it certainly was. San Diego was no vacation. Went to Memphis, went through the avionics school, which was kind of a disappointment to me because I really wanted to be a mechanic. Anyway, I didn't think I did very well, but but I did get through it, being the bad student that I've always been, with high school and all those schools, including that school. And they graduated, then they announced who was getting what station. I ended up with Olathe, Kansas. The bench they put me on was a TACAN bench. And that was the old tube type ARN-21. And I did some work on radar altimeters. I did some work on UHF. I did all that. The TACAN seemed to be the one that was causing the most problems for everybody. And the guy that was there, he had orders to go out. He gave me, we used to have all these schematics printed out on clear plastic sheets, and you pull them out and just work your way through it. And we were actually authorized to modify circuits if we couldn't fix it any other way. He said, whatever it takes to make that thing work. The interesting thing about that particular base is that all the services were there, including Coast Guard. We had Navy, we had Army, we had Marines, we had Coast Guard. They were all there on that base. And all of it was revolving around aviation, because it was an air station. Now, our contingent was only about 60 people. And then, of course, on the weekends, it expanded and did a lot of flight time. My experiences at Olathe were very, very, very positive in most ways. The drill team, going to Marines that had, a death in the family sort of thing. Being able to do what we're doing, the freedom we had to do what we needed to do. Another thing that kind of caught my attention when I knew I was doing a pretty good job is that if you had, on the F-4s, you had to get up there. What we did, it's not like you did in the Air Force or anything like that. They'd write up the TACAN, the pilot write TACAN in op on so-and-so frequencies or whatever, it just doesn't work for whatever. The DME equipment wasn't working. It's distance measuring equipment and azimuth. And they'd write it up, and the same guy, me, would go out, open the door underneath the aircraft, pull it out, cut the wire, bring it in, put it on a bench, put in another one. We always had spares, RFIs, ready for installation. And you tag them. So, when we weren't actually repairing a specific aircraft or doing something like that, we were making spares. We had a pretty good stock of spares, actually. What happened is I'd have 3 or 4 spares up, and the other techs were coming and taking my spares. They'd look at this shop for the tags, because I'd figured out how to get a TACAN to work and hold and stay and keep its signal across the board. And I always had higher power outputs. There's a range, and a lot of guys just tuned it up to the minimum, and I tuned it up to the maximum. And I figured it's going to wear out. I still do that. You build future. Anyway, my orders were to check in at El Toro. So I went down there and I says, pick your place wherever you want to be. And I said, you can either go over to Santa Ana or stay here, stay with jets, stay with transports, anything you like, where you want. Helicopters sound cool, so off I went. They gave me my choice. How often does that happen? In fact, after I was in the service for a little while, I'd get off at a duty station somewhere, and somebody would come out, at the airport. They knew I was coming. Do you have wheels? Yeah, we'll take you out to the base. That happened to me a couple times. And it wasn't always enlisted. Sometimes there was an officer would come out. And you know, you have a second lieutenant or a lieutenant come out and says, go pick up this guy. Which I thought was, and marine aviation is so small that if you're in there for a while, you get to know everybody. Now I was only in 6 years. I can't imagine what it'd be like after 20. Everywhere you went, somebody knew you, right? But there's a camaraderie in the helicopters that just doesn't exist anywhere else, I don't think. As an aside, I've been on a fire department for 24 years now. And that's kind of the same thing. You see things and you do things that other people don't really understand. And I was an EMT for a while, did that too. That was one school I did well at. I was the top of the class, which is kind of nice. At any rate, 364 is where I ended up. We had some good times here. Southern California is not a bad place to be. In the 60s. Yeehaw. And I had a good old time down there. Had my Norton. And rode all over the place with it. Got in with the helicopter thing, learned that. It was the same old TACAN. I fit right in, because I could fix them. We did take a, and Vietnam was building up. 364 had just come back from Vietnam. These guys are telling me all these stories about what went on there. But these old salts, Guppy was one of them, you know. And who's the other one you just mentioned? Thomas, he was over there too. A couple other people. And they're telling us all these stories, you know. So next thing you know, it's girlfriends, cars, houses, whatever you got. You got a couple days to get rid of them. Can't tell you why. Oh yeah, big surprise there. Anyway, we had 24 aircraft. We flew every damn one of them aboard the carrier, which is almost unheard of. I should have known at that point that we were doing something exceptional, because nobody else did that. that I know of. And we went to put us on to Princeton. Anyway, got to Vietnam. We ended up at a place that later got to be called Kia. I guess it was called Kia at the time. And actually, there was nothing there. There wasn't a damn thing there. Nothing. It was just a place. I guess you could almost say we did an amphibious assault. We took the place. We just went there and landed and said, okay, here we are. We're going to make a base out of it. And I don't know what the politics were on that, or what approvals they had, or what went on, or I'm not into that. I'm pretty narrow focused, being an avionics guy. That's what I did. I did like exploring the mechanical side, as I've said before, but I didn't expect to fly over there because of my eyesight. Really didn't. And I had no idea what we were getting into. And the first several months there were pretty ugly. We didn't have much in the way of facilities at all. We did bring refrigerators and washing machines, loaded them on, got them on the ship. We hydrated a lot of this stuff. Wasn't supposed to be in there. You land a helicopter in, and you know, kind of, he's using an awful lot of power to get that thing down. You know, well, it had refrigerators and washing machines in it. Because you know, usually you auto rotate in, you don't do much power. You just keep the engine running. But these were under load during they're coming in. You could tell there's something going on here. And I'm pretty sensitive to engines, so you could hear the. Why is he using so much power to land this thing? He's trying to make it look like it. You know, a routine flare out. But that stuff really served us well once we got there. Once we got power and the refrigerators and the washing machines. Big bonus to have there. We were the envy of all the other squadrons. Some of them did take other stuff in too, but it was a good call. Good call. We went all over Santa Ana trying to get that stuff. Yeah, it was all day, every day, pretty much. Rain and mud and crud. And And we're, like I say, we're in shelters, and you know, I would hate to be the guy that got my sleeping bag after I turned it in. It was pretty ugly, really pretty gamey. We could go survey. We had a CB camp right in back of us, and we'd trade stuff back and forth. And every once in a while, you go down there and say, "What do you guys got? You know, this bag is just bad," because our supply wasn't real good at the time, and we carried rifles everywhere we went. The Marine Corps credo is, whatever you do, you don't lose your rifle. Actually, I lost 2. But see, once they got established, and they had a mess tent and all that kind of thing, you weren't allowed to take your rifle in. So you put it on a gun rack, and if you came back out and your rifle wasn't there, just go get another one. Ain't no thing. Happens all the time. I think a lot of rifles got shipped back to the States that way. Was it the M14? I forgot already. Yeah, it was the M14. I did talk a little bit about the camp when we were doing the M14 shooting. Never did get my expert badge. I was in 6 years and I never requalified. And that's pretty rare. It speaks to my skippers. He didn't want me to go to camp. And you know what, it was a 2-week deal. Yeah, I never requalified. When I got out, they had me scheduled to go, which is the first time after boot camp, which is real unusual, because almost everybody had to go requalify. I don't know how often you did it. Yeah, I didn't do any. Never did any of them. We did do the shotgun thing there for a while. Remember the 12-gauge shotguns, sawed-off shotguns? We were instructed to not shoot at the aircraft, but to shoot at the tarmac underneath the aircraft. Somebody was out there. And there wasn't supposed to be anybody out there. So if there's anybody out there, you just shot them, period. And if they were drunk and coming back from the Oak Club or whatever, it's on them. I don't recall anybody getting shot. I'm sure some people did. But that was the orders. That was the orders. Nobody had to be on that. Nobody was to be on that pad. And I have a lot of pictures of helicopters flying around. I need to show you those sometime. At any rate, our shop was pretty ugly. It was leaky old tent, and the accommodations weren't too good. Typically in the Marine Corps, you're fed pretty well. That always happened. Always happened. We got good food no matter where we were or how bad the conditions were. Yeah, but I'm big on eating. Going on ship, do you remember that, going on ship? All the squids were in our line. Our food was better. And I went over an airline a couple times and I saw why they all came over. And that was on the Princeton, which is, you know, it's not a real high-end ship, but I always felt we got fed pretty well. Just the way I'm big on breakfast. So if they did a good breakfast, I'm happy for all day. I'm still that way. Anyway, we lost a couple people in combat situations. Helicopters are very susceptible to that sort of thing. And I have a ton of respect for Sikorsky's H-34. It just blows me away how good an aircraft it was. What preceded it and what came after it actually doesn't hold a candle as far as I'm concerned. They're just about indestructible. And I've always given people a rundown. This thing was so good, it could lose one of the rotors. Yeah, it could. They actually tested that. 4 rotors, and what happened, because it was fully articulated, 2 would go around. You'd have a huge one per, but you could actually do that. And you could lose the tail rotor, still land. You had to land it like an aircraft, like a fixed wing. You could shoot the engine out and auto rotate. No big deal there. It had fuel cells. If it got hit by a big, large caliber, or 50 or something, they would probably leak. But 30 wouldn't hurt them much at all. And transferring fuel around, I don't know what the transferring of fuel was. But I don't know. I wasn't involved with the flying. I was mostly taking care of avionics and shooting the bang stick out the window. One thing that I did take away from Vietnam, we did a lot of stuff over there. Some of it was pretty goofy. We had a couple of parties on the beach. We'd set up guards all around the perimeter. We'd go down there and drink beer and act stupid, which is a good release. Good release. I got to playing poker over there pretty heavy. I discovered a long time ago, playing pool, if you stay sober, you'll probably win. Same applies to poker. If you stay sober, you'll probably win because you're going to be making good decisions. I sent home over $7,000 to my bank out of Vietnam on poker winnings, which is kind of fun. And I didn't play against enlisted men. I didn't mind taking it away from the officers. And they seemed to be quite happy to give it to me, so I took it. Social life over there, just zip. There was none. It's what you could come up with. We pulled a lot of pranks on each other. I remember doing that bunches of times. You never know when it was going to come. And I do remember a few moments of terror over there. A couple days I thought I was going to die. Well, our job was resupply, insertions, retractions, medevacs, just everything. Actually, we flew all over the country. I mean, it was with a helicopter squadron. We had the Seabees next to us. They always seemed to have steaks, but they were always out of booze. So, where are you guys going? You want anywhere near Saigon or whatever? Pick up a few bottles for you. What do you got going for us? Oh, we have some filet mignon. Yeah, okay. It's a done deal. But I don't really have any sad times over there. What bothered me was what was going on with that country, with their people, with our people, and some of the injuries. We did a lot of medevacs. Bottom line on what we did over there, we saved far more people's lives than people got killed because of us being there. I put an awful lot of rounds through what is it, the M60. My memory's not very good, never has been. So. I think I may have said that, but I forgot already. At any rate, I feel proud of what we did over there. We were given an assignment, and probably 99% of the time we pulled it off. And I feel good about what we did. I feel good about what we did in general. Some of the people that took hits or were wounded, the grunts, they're down there. The difference between them and us was what their assignments were, that they would go out in the field and they'd be pulled back, and they'd go out in the field and pull back. Whereas the aviation, the wing, the group, we flew pretty much all day, every day. Just consistent. We did something every day. Something went in the air every day. It was extremely rare to not have one. I can't think of any. We put a lot of aircraft in the air at any given time. The getting 24 air in the air wasn't going to happen again after we got it on ship. There was no repeat of that. We did have a couple of hand quakes. It's just the nature of the business. I was fascinated by that big old 9-cylinder radial engine in the nose of the aircraft. Big old Wright, what is this? Yeah, pretty impressive engine. And it was designed for fixed wing, but they only had them rated at about 1200. So we had the hot rod engines. And I remember if they did an overspeed or an overboost, you had to go bore sight them out, make sure that they, not a bore sight, but check the bore with a bore scope. And if you had an overboost, they get in trouble for it. The pilot said, what'd you do? I said, well, if you really need to do it, it's okay. Do what you have to do to get out of the line of fire. And that happened quite frequently. And we did some, I'm not a pilot, but there was some very spectacular flying going on there. We were in some hot zones. It was just, we're on the ground, we're getting hits from both sides. You know, and you get back to base and you look things over. Christ, this thing's Swiss cheese. And It's only got 6 holes. It's Swiss cheese. Come on. But I remember one time we hauled out some body bags, probably about 20 of them. It was quite a lot. And we took a lot of hits flying out of there. When we got back, unloaded them, took them off, went back to Keha. And I'm sitting there looking where all those bodies were, and I can see light right where I was sitting. So basically, that stack of dead people kept me from getting hit. I'll never forget that. That's indelibly etched in my mind. You know, if they hadn't been there, I'd have got it. Kind of blew me away. Just wasn't my time. We did an awful lot of medevacs. We saved a lot of people. A lot of people never made it off the helicopter. I have mental images of some of these people. You talk to them and say, "Yeah, this is my ticket back to the States."